Today, I'm walking you through my entire brand identity design process from start to finish using Canva. We'll be creating a visual identity for a made-up expert called Olivia Rose, who's a vintage fashion stylist as well as a style coach, which I completely invented for this video. Olivia Rose aims to attract women between the ages of 25 and 35 on Instagram who appreciate the 1950s and who want to bring a playful twist into their modern style. In this video, I'll be designing a primary logo, a favicon, brand colors, typography style, which is font pairings, a brand kit, photography style, imagery, as well as content for Instagram. I'll take you step by step how I build a brand identity, just like I would a real client. Now, even though this is a fictional brand, the process I'm about to show you is 100% real. It's the exact process that I go through in my day-to-day work with my high-end coaches as well as my celebrity clients. Alrighty, so step one is create a creative brief based on the client questionnaire. So the brief for us is Olivia Rose, a vintage fashion stylist and coach, and her brand archetype is an innocent, very similar to Sabrina Carpenter, who I covered in my brand archetype video. If you haven't watched that yet, it's definitely a great video to start with. So Olivia's brand focuses on creating a feminine aesthetic with a touch of playfulness and nostalgia. Her brand blends purity and calmness with gentle femininity and retro vintage charm. She aims to help women embrace a timeless, soft style while infusing fun elements that break away from the traditional minimalist mold. The goal is to blend the gentle softness of innocence with a fresh, youthful energy that feels both classic and contemporary. So her target audience is women between the ages of 25 to 35 who appreciate vintage-inspired fashion, minimalist designs, and the timeless elegance of feminine styles. Now, the brand inspiration, like I mentioned, I did a video about brand archetypes recently, and in that video, I talked about how Sabrina Carpenter is a classic innocent, although she has got other archetypes blended into this overall brand. She definitely leads with that energy of the innocent. So this particular coach, Olivia Rose, is drawing inspiration from Sabrina Carpenter and Ariana Grande, who both infuse a sense of playfulness and retro vibes into their brands while staying within the innocent archetype. So the brand characteristics and aesthetic is going to be gentle and minimal. It's going to be traditional and authentic and nostalgic and optimistic. And the key elements is going to be brand voice. So brand voice is going to be soft, gentle, authentic with moments of fun and lightheartedness. Imagery is going to use a lot of vintage inspired visuals that are clean, calm, and elegant with pops of color and retro nostalgia to create that playful twist. And then the font choices, she wants elegant serif fonts combined with softer modern sans serif fonts to balance the traditional and modern aspects of her brand. So let's jump in, and now you're going to get an over-the-shoulder look as to exactly what I do. Let's go. If you're building your brand from scratch or in the process of rebranding, I've got the Boss Brand Up bundle, which I'll link in the description below. This is going to help you master your personal branding like an A-list superstar in your industry. So once I've completed the creative brief, I always start with research. So here I'll look into the target audience their lifestyle, their goals, and their aesthetic preferences. And then I'll create a mood board, or 2 or 3, depending on how inspired I feel, to define the overall vibe of my client's brand. Now, while mood boarding, I also like to include things like potential brand colors, photography inspiration, icon ideas, font direction, patterns, and textures. And basically what I do is I open up a whiteboard in Canva and I just dump all of my ideas inside of this. So this is exactly what I do. Now, this helps everything feel cohesive from the very beginning. It gives both me and the client a big picture of the brand's personality. All right, now step 3 is typography. So let's go straight in and just watch me do my thing as I come up with font pairings and things like that. Okay, now step 4 is going to be logo design. Now, once the mood board is solid, I then dive into the logo, starting with fonts. This is my process. There's no right or wrong in the way that you do yours. So I like to start with fonts because sometimes the actual fonts that I play with is going to give me inspiration for the logo design. So I'll explore different font options. I'll then manipulate them to make the logo feel completely custom made, even if I'm designing in Canva. So here's the thing, a logo isn't just typing the brand name in a pretty font, okay? Typography is literally where the magic does happen. And if I'm working with a premium and a high-end brand, I'll often work with another artist and designer on my team who will sketch out ideas, then clean them up in Adobe with the pen tool, and we'll combine like different abstract shapes and go from there. Now, sometimes with designing a logo, I'll also mix fonts. So, you know, like taking a curve of a letter and pairing it with something else, and, you know, playing around with the spacing and combining them and extending things. So just play around with something and just draw inspiration. Now, here's the thing, all of your ideas aren't going to be great ideas. So, but it's just a matter of like pouring into where your creativity takes you, and then just go from there. And then from there, you can scrap the ones that are total like no-goes, and then you can continue expanding on concepts that, you know, you feel like may have, you know, some legs here. So for Olivia Rose, I'm going for a floral style with petals that connects to the actual rose in her name. And then I'm probably going to use a text-based logo for her name, but I'm going to play around with so many different ideas that come to my mind. And then what I would normally do is then deliver some concepts to my client. Now, I want it to feel soft and feminine, like a sticker that you use to seal an envelope, right? Like that seal. Now, when I design logos, I always start with black and white, because it's always important that your logo looks incredible just in black and white. And then later on, you can play around with colors, because the colors is really going to change the feel, the look, everything. So I definitely leave that until the end, and I get straight into the form and the structure of the logo before I explore the color. Now, trying to design and choose colors at the same time is definitely a recipe for overwhelm. So just focus on one thing at a time. Step 5 is color strategy. And I love to use a lot of color psychology when I'm designing, which links back to what I started off in the beginning of this video, which is linking back to brand archetypes. And that is because brand archetypes, whether the audience realizes or not, they identify with like the character of your brand, and that really helps them understand who you are and what you're about. But most importantly, they self-identify with certain characters when you're telling stories, whether you're telling a story about yourself, and then they identify with them being in your shoes. So it's really, really important to identify what colors works well with brand archetypes and what colors will work well for your audience, as well as for your preferences too. So it's not just about what you like, essentially. It's more about what your audience likes and what they identify with each color and how each color makes them feel, if there's any cultural references, if there's any pop cultural references, if there's any religious references, and so forth. I also like to get a lot of color inspiration from actual images that I'm inspired by. And so you do that just by clicking on the color. This little panel is going to pop up. And so when you click on the color, right, all the colors are going to appear on the left-hand side. And all you have to do is click on that little like rainbow color wheel thing, and then see how there's like a little pencil tool. So you click on that to pick a color, and then when you click on that, you select the color in your image that you like, just like this. Alrighty, so I'm doing all of this in Canva because I want to show you how you can do so much with Canva. Now, once everything is done, it's very important to mention that you can't trademark a logo that you got from Canva, whether it's from using their elements, their logo inspirations, line art, symbols, icons, whatever it is. It's always best to, if you want to trademark anything, it's always best to give it to a graphic designer so that they can make it your own before you go down the process of trademarking. Because the reason being is because Canva is used by millions, if not billions of people. And so if everyone has access to the same symbols, line arts, graphic elements, you can't trademark something that is in the hands of so many millions of people. So it's very, very, like anything to do with trademark is all about customization. So make it your own. And if you have no idea about how to design in Canva, I'll also link my 88-page Canva guide in the description below. And I'll also link my Canva tutorial so you can watch this immediately after this video. All right, there you have it. That is my brand identity design process. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope this inspired you to create something incredible. If you absolutely loved what I've created today, you can definitely grab these templates in my store. I'll put the link in the description for you if you want to shop all of my Canva templates. And yes, I have created this in the newest Instagram grid layout, which is 4x5 for your convenience. And if you are wanting the squares, that is also available for you. All right, so I've covered both because not all accounts have converted to the 4x5s. Some Instagram accounts are still showing the squares. So I've done both in case you need both. And if you love this video, then watch this video next to help you identify which brand archetype you are. And I'll see you in the next video.